Why are you financing luxury cars? If you can't lease it and you don't buy it, why would you do that? Why would you finance a Range Rover? Why would you finance a BMW? You people talk about it all the time. You know that's a money pit. Why would you finance that? Who you trying to flex in front of? I'd rather my homie come to me with a brand new Toyota Lexus. You feel me? Something that's like in his price range that he's gonna keep longevity instead of him coming to me with some beat down 2009 Benz. Talk about I got a Benz. That ain't a Benz. I mean, what is that? Bro, no. You need to lease luxury cars. Stop financing luxury cars. It's a money pit. See, when you lease the cars, all the maintenance, all the manufacturer warranty is taken care of by the manufacturer. Oh, well, you can't drive it out of town. I mean, yeah, you technically can, but you just got to pay for it later down the line. But you already going to pay for it. If you get a luxury car, you have to get the maintenance. Like, bro, no. If you're going to get a car to finance, please finance a car that lasts forever. There's plenty of good cars that last forever now. You already know Toyota, Honda are the mains. And there's plenty of other good brands now too because there's so much competition. But do not ever finance a luxury car.
I gotta disagree with him. Okay, I don't like financing at all. If you have to, you have to. But people say all the time, get a cash car, put down $5,000. But hey, let's be honest here. How many reliable cars are gonna get for $5,000? It's better that you just find somebody that you know, like, and trust in person than you find a car that's $5,000 online on Facebook Marketplace or something, unless you know how to work on cars. How do I know this? Because I literally just got a car a couple months ago. It's a used 2018 Tesla Model 3. On top of that, why lease any car at all? I mean, I didn't even know you couldn't drive out the state in some circumstances, but you never own it. And people always talk highly about ownership. We know that by owning a home, but your money is going right down the drain because you have to trade it in or actually put money towards it to buy it at the end. It's one of the most dumbest decisions I've ever seen people do financially that doesn't save them from building up wealth. It doesn't help you build up wealth. You're paying money and then they're going to go ahead and hand it out to somebody else after you turn it back in. Like, yo, they're making bank. They are making bank. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you like the content.
I was on the way to work and I just want to say, do not upgrade your car if you do not have to. I am still driving my 2014 Nissan Altima from college that is completely paid off, and even when I did have payments on her, she was only $200. And that was way back when, and that's just simply not the reality of times now. I'm able to get the bags that I want, get the clothes that I want, the jewelry, go on trips because I'm a little bit more financially free in that bucket. And as much as I want to go get my Range, my Benz, my Porsche, I don't, because I necessarily just don't have to right now. There's nothing wrong with getting from point A to point B in your little hoopty. And when I'm ready to go get my big body, I will, and I am. But so many Americans are drowning from their car note each month, so just let this be your sign to hold out. It's me and my little hoopty and my Louis Vuitton against the world. Who is this diva?
Yo, that's what's up. I love to hear it. She has a car that she had in college and she graduated college, probably is making more money, and decided not to get a big body or a luxury car, even on a lease, and decide to actually be financially secure, building up her finances until it's time for her to get the car. Now, most people aren't going to do that. Why? Because they don't have something called patience. They've been waiting their whole lives to get their dream car, and so they get it the second that they can afford the payments. But little do they know that just because you can afford the payments doesn't mean you can afford the thing. Just because you can afford the payments doesn't mean that you're not going to have to pay for maintenance. And that's one of the loopholes that people put themselves in, not only with signing loans, but also putting themselves in a vehicle where they're not able to maintain the maintenance. Does that make sense? Have you ever seen or heard people complain about how much it costs to fix a BMW, a Mercedes Benz? Like, bro, it's not cool to be taking care of a car that you can't afford. It's just not. And just for it to have a certain symbol and for you to have a certain status symbol when you go out with your friends, you stunting on people, but you are paying for it either way. You just are. I don't like that mindset. Actually, that mindset is a hive mindset because people don't even be thinking for themselves when it comes down to getting a car. They don't do their research. They don't see how reliable the car is. They just want what they want and they get what they get. And the comment section is full of people who make these type of decisions and then try to justify it by saying, I work hard for my money. We all do. Whoop-de-doo. We all work hard for their money. And if you disagree with me, I know you don't know people who have money because they work hard for their money and they make their money work hard for them, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? I was just watching a video and it was a guy who, shout out to my boy AB from AB Academy. But he was a part of Mr. Beast, the YouTuber, some type of game show. And he was telling us how hard Mr. Beast worked. Once he filmed a certain part of his show, he went and jumped and flew to go to a different business meeting. He went to film other videos while they were sleeping. Like, dude was a workaholic and he's a billionaire. People work hard for their money everywhere, but they also have their money work hard for them, which is exactly the opposite when people get car loans and luxury cars and then just think that they can afford it because they can afford the payments. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Subscribe if you like the content. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below.
What is the most overrated luxury vehicle?
Probably the BMW or the Cadillac.
What is the most overrated luxury vehicle?
I would have to say Tesla because they never hold their value and they're terribly built.
What is the most overrated luxury vehicle?
The Mercedes.
What is the most overrated luxury vehicle?
I would say Maserati.
What is the most overrated luxury vehicle?
BMW, it's not close.
What is the most overrated luxury vehicle?
And your Mercedes.
What is the most overrated luxury vehicle?
Land Rover Defender. They're too expensive for how unreliable they are.
What is the most overrated luxury vehicle?
Jaguar.
What is the most overrated luxury vehicle?
I don't think it's overrated. The cost of maintenance on a Mercedes convertible that stores itself. At 60,000 miles, there is a service that's required that costs $5,000. It's considered standard maintenance. Everybody ends up trading it in right before it turns 60,000 miles. When you see a Mercedes that's being sold at 57,000 miles, 58,000 miles, before you buy that car, you better call Mercedes and see what the 60,000 required service is. You will find that sometimes it's quite stunning. But then again, you bought a Mercedes, you better...
Again, you bought a luxury car, you got to pay the luxury maintenance fees. I've heard this with Mercedes, but let me go to my guy who is talking about how Teslas drop their value and how they're not reliable. They're poorly built. For one, I'm not buying a new car. I'm buying a used car. Most people buy new cars because they want new cars and they pay that new price. Getting a used car save you a lot of money, save you tens and thousands of dollars, especially on a Tesla, because they're valued for their technology as well. Okay, a lot of people think Tesla is a car company. They're a software company. So just like you get your phone, right? You get your phone and it's like your phone is 2 years old, but you get a newer phone and you see the newer phone and it's like, oh, well, that can have a longer battery life and it has this extra feature with the camera or whatnot, right? It's not going to be too much of a difference between your phone and the newer phone. But the reason why people get rid of their Teslas is because they treat it like technology. Full self-driving is a software that allows you to be driven by your car. Not every Tesla has that to that extent. You have to do upgrades. You have to get a new car to have newer software. So it's kind of treated like a cell phone. I don't believe they're poorly built. I have a 2018 Model 3. There are some cosmetic damages. Obviously, it's a used car, but for the reliability, I've been driving it for about 4 months now. I've had no problems at all. The biggest problem I've had was air pressure, and my car has 70,000 miles on it right now. And I've put about 6,000 miles on it within the 4 months. I have not had a problem. Not a problem that has caused me to go to the dealership, not a problem that's caused me to wonder, oh my gosh, why did I get a Tesla? But let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Do you like electric vehicles? What vehicle do you have? What is your experience? And what do you think about owning a luxury car and paying the maintenance on it?
Get a Benz, don't get a Benz. Cause what is this? What is this? Why? Why?
I thought that was like something she put up.
Somebody tell me, where do I go to fix this? Where do I go to fix this? I looked into it. I want to say I looked into it a couple months ago because it was not like this. Like, this was not, it was not like this. Like, you can't even pull it back. Like, I don't understand. And then you gotta keep on doing this just to get it back. Like, no. How do I fix this? When I looked into it, it was like $7,000. Who? Having a Benz is just so much maintenance. Like, it's just a car. Like, it's a car like any other car. The maintenance is the problem. That's the problem, the maintenance. the A and B. They have an A and a B maintenance. Like you go for your A service, you go for your B service. And if you don't have a package plan with Mercedes, like I be paying $1,200. That's ridiculous for oil changes and whatever else they think I need. And now I'm to the point like I don't need nothing but an oil change. So that better come up to $300, $400. And even that's a lot. How do I fix this? How do somebody come in the comments and tell me like,
bro, $300 for an oil change is insane. They are robbing people blind. That's not to say everybody's in her situation where they're complaining about the price. Again, people get these luxury cars and be thinking, I live a luxury lifestyle. Nah, you drive a luxury car that you don't own yet, and you better be ready to pay them luxury maintenance fees. That's crazy. We just watched a video a couple minutes ago talking about how they have a 60,000 mile warranty, some type of maintenance fee where everybody knows when you have a Benz, you better be paying attention to that mileage before you buy one, because if you don't, you'll buy a used one and then you'll have to pay thousands of dollars for that maintenance. Why would they even make, listen, we know why. Actually, I shouldn't even ask that question. We know why they make these type of cars this way, because they want the money to come back into the business, even though after you sign them papers and bought the car. But this is just how business is in the car industry. Unfortunately, they know the lifespan of your car. They know it. They do tests. And so it's upon you to be financially responsible. It's upon us to be financially responsible and know, hey, this car isn't just for its surface level of what it's worth. All right. The maintenance behind it, that's the real cost. That's the real cost. Bottom line. If you like this type of content, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Let's go.
Late December, my husband and I bought a car. I loved it. I was so excited about it. It was a 3-row Jeep Wagoneer. And eventually, we were driving it home, and it died. The electrical just died while we were driving it. That's weird. My husband had to restart it while we were driving it on the freeway. We pick up our kids. We drive home from picking up our kids. It dies 2 more times with our kids in the car. We get home. We call the dealership. They're like, oh, that's weird. Let's have you drive it to the auto shop, and we'll take care of it. Great. Drive it to the auto shop. They take care of it, and we go pick it back up, bring it home. They're like, okay, we found that there was a nut missing off one of the batteries. Should be good to go. Great. Car dies again while I'm driving it. And so we're like, great, that's crazy. Why is that happening? This is not safe. Hopefully you can figure this shit out. I really want to keep my car, right? So they take the car again. They check all the battery stuff. They're like, oh, everything's good. We replaced the alt battery or something. Send me home with a car again. It dies again. This time it dies all the way. Like, it dies while we're driving it, but then the next morning we go to start it to take it in and it won't start. So we have to have it towed. We have it towed. They replace the alt battery, the regular battery. They say, oh, they've just been sitting on a lot for a year, so that's why they weren't working very well. It should be good to go. I get my car back again. I don't know what time this is. The 3rd time, maybe 2nd time. Drive my car. It works for a couple days, and then it dies again on the freeway when I'm driving my sister back. I'm driving back from the airport to drop off my sister, and it completely, like, the electrical goes out. There's no power steering. There's no anything, and you have to, like, figure out how to finagle it back into.
When is it gonna stop, y'all? First of all, I heard Jeeps were trash in the first place. I like how they look, don't get me wrong, but I heard they're trash. I was doing research on the Jeep Cherokee, all right, and there was someone selling it down the road before I bought my Tesla, and I was like, maybe I should look into a Jeep. You know, I don't really, care for it, but it's a used car, and if they're reliable, then I can see myself, getting it for a couple $1,000s. Man, nah. All I saw was bad reviews. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Are Jeeps reliable? If you didn't know, a Wagoneer is literally the luxury version of a Jeep. I'm good. After hearing her story and knowing how they make their other models of their cars, a lot of maintenance fees because things just break in Jeeps. They're just not reliable. As many people love to shame Tesla and say things like, "Oh, they're poorly built." Bro, I'm good. I'm good. After seeing them reviews online, just look up the reliability of a Jeep. And if you disagree with me, let me know your experience down below.